Part 1. The Invitation. The peace talks were a desperate gamble. After decades of bloodshed between the Aelari and the Varnak, both empires teetered on the brink of collapse. The star lanes were choked with wreckage, their worlds scarred with ash, their fleets reduced to shadows of glory. No one expected diplomacy to succeed, but desperation made even impossible hopes feel plausible. High Emissary Seral of the Aelari delegation arrived at Ecliptus Prime with a singular demand. "I will bring my own bodyguard." The Varnaks scoffed at the idea. They were known for their honor duels, their towering soldiers bred for strength. What could a bodyguard matter in a peace summit held on neutral ground? But then the human walked in. He wore matte black exo-armor, polished but scarred. No insignia, no rank, no visible weapon. Just eyes, calm, calculating, and far too still for a species that was supposed to be young and undisciplined. His name was Cade Ronin. The Aelari had pulled him from a Terran Protectorate war archive, retired, forgotten, and lost in obscurity after the last human-Tralax war. Yet someone in Seral's intelligence circle had insisted, "Get him, and everything changes." Part 2. Cade's silence. The initial meetings were posturing. The Varnak High Lord Rokez slammed his fists on the negotiation table. The Aelari delegates responded with clinical detachment. Every word was strategic. Every breath calculated. Cade stood behind Seral without a word. He observed. Not just the room but the temperature, the pulse changes, the tightness in every Varnak jaw. He listened for the things not said. Grudges tucked beneath ceremony, signals behind gestures, code in the silence. To the Aelari, Cade was a last resort. To the Varnak he was an anomaly. A silent human. No boasts, no threats. High Lord Rokez asked mockingly on the third day, "Does the human speak, or does he only breathe?" Cade said nothing. Just looked at him, slow and steady. Rokez didn't mention him again. Part 3. The War Within the Room. By the fifth day, progress stalled. Aelari intelligence revealed that the Varnak had moved warships to the border. In retaliation, the Aelari activated orbital defense nets. The treaty talks were on the verge of collapse. Cade requested a private audience with Seral. She met him on the roof of the Peace Dome beneath the artificial stars. "You know this is failing," he said, his voice as calm as ever. Seral nodded. "They came to posture, not to concede. Then give them something unexpected." She arched a brow. "You." "No," Cade said. "A different game." Part 4. The Broken Blade. The next day, Cade walked into the negotiation chamber alone. The guards tensed. Oka stood. "Has the emissary sent her dog to bite?" Cade held up a small, rectangular object. "This is the personal memory core of Admiral Vorn Tolek, former Varnak fleet commander. Captured and preserved during the Battle of Draxus Fold." Roka's face shifted. Tolek had been missing for 3 years. Cade continued. "Within it are logs detailing not only Varnak war crimes, but proof that Tolek's final maneuver was not a retreat. It was a planned sacrifice to destabilize your own internal hierarchy." Whispers spread like wildfire through the Varnak ranks. Cade placed the core on the table. "You've been at war with each other. This war. It's a mask for your own collapse." Roka's glare darkened. "How dare?" "You dare," Cade cut in, for the first time raising his voice. "Because your people starve while your generals hoard. Because peace threatens your control. Because if they see this file, you burn." Seral entered quietly behind him. Rokez looked from her to Cade. "What is this? An attempt at blackmail?" "No," Seral said gently. "It's the final offer. Sign the ceasefire. or we release the truth to both sides. Let your own warriors decide what justice means. Part 5. The Peace That Wasn't. 2 days of silence followed. On the 7th day, Rokaz requested a private duel. Aelari tradition allowed a symbolic fight between champions to mark the end of war. Normally ceremonial, but not today. The Varnak came in battle gear. Cade wore only his armor. No blade. You refuse to arm yourself. Rokaz barked. I'm already armed, Cade said calmly, tapping his temple. The duel began. Cade dodged, weaved, and used Rokaz's strength against him. He moved like water, never striking, always redirecting. His years of human war, urban conflict, zero-G martial defense, neural prediction algorithms, made him impossible to land a blow on. Finally, Rokaz overcommit. Cade caught him mid-charge and dropped him to one knee with a hold so precise. The Varnak couldn't move without breaking his own arm. And Cade whispered, loud enough for all to hear, "Peace isn't submission, it's survival. For both of us." He let Rokaz go and walked away. Part 6. The Aftermath. The ceasefire was signed. Varnak ships stood down. Aelari forces withdrew from contested systems. The war, as far as history would remember, ended at Ecliptus Prime. No weapons fired. No blood spilled. But rumors swirled. Of a human weapon wrapped in flesh. Of a warrior who used silence as pressure, truth as blade, and restraint as power. Cade Ronin disappeared after the treaty. Some say the Aelari offered him a seat on their council. Others claim he returned to the Terran protectorate and declined all honors. Only Seral knew the truth. She found him weeks later on a moon orbiting Siren's edge, watching the twin suns set. "You ended the war," she said. "I gave them a mirror," he replied. "And what do you see when you look in it?" Cade turned to her, eyes soft for the first time. That sometimes the best weapon is knowing when not to pull the trigger. Final note. In a galaxy obsessed with strength, the peace brought by a single human wasn't forged in fire, but in reflection, silence, and subtle truth. A war ended not by lasers or armies, but by the presence of someone who understood war more deeply than those who started it. And that was what made him dangerous. That was what made him legendary.